All righty. So we have 60 people today, which is fabulous. That means there's the potential for some background noise. So if you notice any at your location, just go ahead and mute. During the presentation, because there's so gosh darn many of us, if you can use the raise hand button on the bottom of your Zoom screen, that would be great if you have questions. And as you know, these presentations are only as good as the questions. But if that technology is escaping you or you prefer to just ask, then, or if I don't see it, then just ask. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Super. So today we're going to talk about no trump openers and balanced responses. And by balanced responses, I mean a time when responder has no interest in the major suits. And we'll go ahead and explain that as we go. As you know, I like to pick images on this first page that are helpful. And here's today's image. And you may wonder why we have Captain Kirk. And the answer is, suppose Jill and I are playing as a partnership and I open one no trump. That bid is so descriptive that when I open one no trump, Jill becomes the captain of the team. So she will be in charge of directing us to the best contract. And that's because I gave her such a precise description of her hand, not because of her ginormous ego. Well, or Captain Kirk's ginormous ego. So where are we? We spent 7 weeks talking about declarer play, and we spent 4 weeks on opening leads and some defense principles. And then last week, we entered the swamp of bidding from which you may never emerge. That's the problem with bidding and one of the reasons we start with card play. So today, we're going to talk about one no trump openers and when responder has a balanced hand and wants to raise. I did want to give you a reminder about the Google Drive. I'll drop the presentation into the chat at the end, and I'll try to remember to put this link there as well. But on the Google Drive, we have all of the presentations available for you in PDF format. And as you know, each week we play a number of hands. All the hands we've played, there's a commentary document that shows the hand, talks about the bidding, talks about the play. Some of them have a link where you can actually go and watch the hand get played out. So just a reminder that these resources exist. And I also wanted to remind us of how we learn bridge. And what happens is over time, you know, when you're pretty new to the game and you sit in a presentation like this, you don't recognize much stuff and everything seems new and maybe a little overwhelming. The next time you see the same presentation, less of it is new. And eventually you get to a point where you understand lots and lots of the material very well, but there's usually still something new embedded in there. And I think of this as when somebody first mentions something, you go, I never heard of that. And then after time, it becomes, oh, somebody said that once before. Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, we do it all the time. And I don't even have to think about it anymore. And so today's topic, one no trump openers and responses, each of you may be in different places on the different topics that we'll talk about today. So I just ask you to kind of keep in mind, if you're pretty new to the game, you know, a fair amount of this will be on the left-hand thought bubbles. And as you get more experience, you'll probably still find some things up in that kind of orange or green area. And I would remind you that, as my wife says, bridge is infinite. This is how I feel about bridge. I climb, I make a turn, I think I've gotten somewhere, and there's just more uphill to go, and it's just more and more fun. And as you know, I talk about this, don't have to even think about it, as putting something into your reptilian brain. And then that part becomes reflex, and you literally don't have to think about it, and that opens up part of your brain for more new topics. So there's my preview. Today, we're going to peel the onion about one no trump opening bids. As we'll talk, the one no trump opening bid says, partner, I have 15 to 17 high card points, and I have a balanced hand. We'll talk about what all those mean. And last week, we talked about how we count points. And for no trump, we're just going to count high card points. We'll count 4 for an ace, 3 for a king, 2 for a queen, 1 for a jack. Over time, you realize that G aces are really worth a little more than this, and jacks are worth a little less, but nobody likes to deal with fractions. So this is a pretty good approximation. After we talk about the one no trump opener, we'll talk about why opening one no trump is so wonderful. And then we'll talk about when partner opens one no trump, what do you do if you want to raise, if you have a balanced hand? And then I'm going to offer several comments, and these may be spread across that brain, ranging from never heard that to, oh yeah, it sounds familiar. I'm going to explain that as a responder, I pass with 8, invite with 9. I'm going to remind you that minor suits are great in no trump. And always there's a question about, would you open one no trump if you had a 5-card major? And the answer for me is yes, but these are just kind of comments. And then toward the end, we'll actually talk about, well, what do you do if you're balanced, but not just 15 to 17? So are we ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay, so the one no trump opener, we go back to the Dick Van Dyke Show, our favorite bridge players. And Dick is sitting here and thinking, gee, I want to tell my loving spouse that I have 15 to 17 high card points in a balanced hand, but it's illegal to say that out loud. So instead, I'm going to open one no trump. And what do we mean by a balanced hand? It's a hand that looks like this. All the suits are kind of the same length: 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 5, 3, 3, 2. It's not just that the spade suit is 5 cards. Any of the suit could be these lengths. And some people call these a flat hand. You'll hear that term sometimes. So let's look at some examples of one no trump openers. They're going to be balanced hands with 15 to 17 high card points. So I look at this hand, 4, 3, 3, 3, balanced hand. How many high card points do you guys see?
15.
Yeah, I see 15. I tend to count at least twice because sometimes I make a mistake. I also like to look at groups of the high cards because I count easier that way. So I see an ace, king, queen, jack. I go, oh, that's 10, 14, 15. Or I could count it just one card at a time. So this is 15 high card points. A wonderful one no trump open.